Jason Statham's 2011 action thriller The Mechanic is a remake of a classic Charles Bronson film of the same name and is now one of the most popular movies on Netflix. The Mechanic remains one of Jason Statham's highest-rated movies of his celebrated career and one of Statham's most successful film franchises. The film follows Statham's Arthur Bishop, an elite hitman or mechanic who is the best in the business. After Bishop's mentor Harry, Donald Sutherland, is murdered, Bishop goes on a one-man army mission to avenge his death and make those responsible pay. It's a classic premise for Statham and one of his most immersive movies. Jason Statham's The Mechanic remade Charles Bronson's 1972 action movie. Statham and Bronson both play a hitman named Arthur Bishop. Statham's The Mechanic was based on the 1972 film of the same name directed by Michael Winner, Death Wish, The Sentinel, and starring Charles Bronson. As one of Hollywood's greatest tough guy leading actors, Bronson was a natural fit for the original rendition of the elite assassin Arthur Bishop in the classic action thriller. The signature trick of both Statham's and Bishop's Arthur Bishop protagonists is that they make their hits look like accidents, a concept originated by original screenwriter Louis John Carlino. Keenan Wynn portrayed Harry in the 1972 version, which Sutherland plays in the 2011 remake, while Jan Michael Vincent played Foster's Steve McKenna. Charles Bronson was known for his rugged appearance, which made him the perfect actor for leading roles in action movies and westerns. Some of his most iconic performances include harmonica in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968, Danny Tunnel King in The Great Escape, 1963, and Bernardo O'Reilly in The Magnificent Seven, 1960. Bronson has also starred in iconic and critically acclaimed films such as The Dirty Dozen, 1967, House of Wax, 1953, Mr. Magestick, 1974, and Hard Times, 1975. His performance as the vigilante Paul Kersey in 1974's Death Wish spawned 4 sequels from 1982 to 1994. Why The Mechanic remake is so much better than the 1972 original. The pacing, editing, and action scenes are improved in the remake. Charles Bronson in The Mechanic 1972. Statham was the best modern actor to take on a remake of The Mechanic who was able to both take the reins from Bronson while also adding his own signature style to the franchise. Statham and Bronson are both masters of the man of few words action protagonist type who each carry a formidable sense of control and mystique, which enables them to not have to rely on smart dialogue very often. Bronson's Mechanic received a lower Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 45%, than Statham's 2011 remake but a higher audience score, 65% compared to 51%. If it came down to one, Statham's version is arguably the better film ultimately. The biggest difference between The Mechanic of 2011 and The Mechanic of 1972 is their directorial styles and pacing. The 1972 version plays out like a slow burner suspense story with the action picking up towards the end, while 2011's remake starts in the thick of the action as Statham's Arthur Bishop makes a kill. The editing is also quicker, making it a more sharp and entertaining product. While Bronson's Mechanic is a solid slow burner, the changes made in Statham's version ultimately deliver a more immersive movie. The original Mechanic was made on a budget of just $10 million while Statham's version was made on $42.5 million, resulting in better action sequences and set pieces. Jason Statham's The Mechanic 3 still needs to happen after the 2016 sequel. The modern Mechanic franchise should not be forgotten. Mechanic Resurrection teaser poster header. Statham's remake of The Mechanic inspired a sequel in 2016 titled The Mechanic, Resurrection. Although the film received a lower Rotten Tomatoes critic score than the original and the remake, 31%, it did add more intriguing set pieces and cast members, including Jessica Alba, Tommy Lee Jones, and Michelle Yeoh. Despite the critical failure of Resurrection, The Mechanic sequel was a box office success, earning $125.7 million against a budget of $40 million. With Statham being the face of several action thriller franchises such as The Beekeeper, The Meg, and more, it would make sense if he decided to round out the trilogy with The Mechanic 3.